The Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Sixers shall feature in match 26 of the Big Bash League. Let's build our fantasy team for this one on my 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPNcricinfo. I'm Ranu Kapoor and Andrew Mcglashan is all set to join me. Right then, let's go to our pro tip for this one. And the Adelaide Strikers, some numbers for you. They've lost 44 wickets in 6 games. Meanwhile, the Sixers' bowling average of 20.11 is the best in the league. So, more Sydney Sixers bowlers and fewer Strikers batsmen should work in your favour. Now, Andrew Mcglashan is a big fan of numbers, but let me see if he's a big fan of that pro tip. What do you make of that, Nasha?
That sounds about right to me, yes. I mean, the Sixers have played some very good cricket all round so far this tournament. The Strikers, you'd probably argue, haven't quite got it together as an entirety yet. So, yeah, I think that's a fair assumption to take heading into this game. The Sixers always do look a strong outfit, though, as well.
All right, let's go towards our team, shall we? Before that, a quick reminder on the My 11 Circle Fantasy app, 100 credits for every user to pick their fantasy team. 4 categories of players to choose from: batsmen, bowlers, wicket keepers, and all-rounders. You can pick a maximum of 7 players from one team in any given contest, and we'll throw in 4 substitute options for you as well towards the end of this video. Our captain choice is Josh Philippe, not for the first time and not for the last. He's going to be strongly recommended by us. The dynamic wicketkeeper batsman. He scored 172 runs in 5 innings, striking at just over 140 in this year's Big Bash. One of the very few batters who has a better average against spin than pace since Big Bash Season 9. He's not been afraid to play aggressively, even against the likes of Rashid Khan. He's managed 35 runs in 19 balls without ever losing his wicket to the Afghan leg spinner. Vice-captain choice, Alex Carey, in a team which has not clicked as a batting unit together yet in Big Bash Season 10. The skipper of the Adelaide Strikers has scored a couple of 50-plus scores in his 4 innings. He scored more than half of the team's runs in the last game against Scorchers, where he finished with an 82 of 59. And his keeping skills can also get you the extra points. So we've got Josh Philippe and Alex Carey as our captain and vice-captain. They give you double and 1.5 times the points respectively, so keep that in your calculations. Among our top picks is Dan Christian, the BBL veteran who's hit top form this edition. He's picked up 6 wickets at an average of just under 21 and scored 93 runs, striking at over 220 at that wonderful 16-ball 50 against the Adelaide Strikers earlier this season, the second fastest 50 in BBL history. Man of the match award performance, so he wouldn't mind reappearing against the same side. Dan Christian in our top picks. Rashid Khan, pretty much always, whenever the Strikers play. Economy this season is 7.65, which in comparison to previous years in Rashid Khan's Big Bash career is on the higher side, perhaps suggesting batsmen are playing him better, but the genius of Rashid Khan is yet to go wicketless this season, so let's not keep him out of our team just yet. Stephen O'Keefe, the joint top wicket taker this season. The veteran left-arm spinner has taken 8 wickets in 5 games. He is the joint top wicket taker for the Sixers this season, and he also enjoys playing against the Adelaide Strikers. 13 wickets in 8 games of an average of just under 13. Top picks: Josh Philippe as captain, Alex Carey as vice-captain, Daniel Christian, Rashid Khan, and Steve O'Keefe round up our top picks. Like the sound of those, Nasha?
Yeah, it's hard to pick a hole in many of those, isn't there, really? I mean, the one thing, I guess, if you were feeling brave, you mentioned it, that Rashid Khan hasn't maybe got the bag of wickets yet that we would expect, and his economy rate's a touch higher, but you do feel he can win a match at any moment. So if you were feeling brave, particularly, you may want to promote him to possibly your VC if you fancied it, but you can't argue with Philippe and Carey in those 2 captaincy positions. They are informed players and they're both keepers as well, so we'll get you valuable points behind the stumps.
Yep, keep that in your calculations. Then let's go to the rest of our team. Carlos Brathwaite in our differential picks. Now, Carlos Brathwaite, the bowler, seems to have turned up in this year's Big Bash. 18 wickets in 12 games, striking once every 13.8 deliveries. He's gone wicketless on just the 2 occasions. Batting skills haven't yet come to the fore, but if they do come, you've got a proper all-round option getting you heaps of points. Wes Agar features in our differential picks along with Brathwaite. If there was an Agar in the top wicket takers list in the Big Bash, you'd expect it to be Ashton, but it's the younger brother Wes who's been making waves this season in a team which is usually overshadowed by the likes of Rashid Khan and Peter Siddle. Wes Agar's taken 11 wickets in 6 games at an average of 17. Carlos Brathwaite and Wes Agar in our differential picks. Our full team sees Josh Philippe, Alex Carey, and Phil Salt, all in those keeper categories that you'll find. Of course, Philippe and Carey are our captain and vice-captain recommendations. There's Dan Hughes, James Vince, Jake Weatherall, Carlos Brathwaite, Daniel Christian, Rashid Khan, Wes Agara and Steve O'Keefe. Substitutes bench, Peter Siddle, Danny Briggs, Jack Edwards and Ben Dwarshuis. Ben Dwarshuis has been highly rated by Tom Moody and Mike Hussey in the past. I wonder if Nasher would rate him and find room for him in the side. Nasher?
Yeah, he's a bowler who's always impressed me in the Big Bash as well. Certainly last season he bowled some really tough and important overs. Like a bowler in that position, the figures won't always reflect perhaps the work he does, because he'll bowl those power play overs, the trade-off being he'll often get wickets as well. So there's a points value there. Just the other two bowlers there on the subs bench who stand out, Peter Siddle and Danny Briggs, have both had their moments in this tournament as well, so they could easily slot into the first 11, depending on how you wanted to match up your players. But both have found some nice form, and Danny Briggs has recovered nicely from being X-Factor subbed out from 2 games at the beginning of the tournament, so it's nice that he's got his foothold in the competition now.
All right, Andrew Mcglashan, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. Make sure all of you check in with the latest team news after the toss before confirming your fantasy side in case of any last-minute injury updates. And we'll be back with plenty more to help you pick your fantasy teams through the course of the Big Bash League on my 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPNcricinfo.